Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host Matt, and with me this week is our pro gamer Mike.
I can't think of anything funny. I'm tired.
All right, and our retro aficionado Uno Clay.
Hello, gentlemen. That's just some music from Don't Starve that came out on Switch this week.
Okay, I'm like,
I thought it was part of the clip. I was like, that guy sounds like Clay, though. That's how tired I am. I was fooled. Right?
Are you pulling a Nightmare Before Christmas kind of thing?
Oh, totally. No, I already played Don't Starve a lot on Wii U, and I liked it, but I kept saying if they brought it to Switch, I'd get it because it's a perfect kind of mobile game. And now I'm going to have to put my money where my mouth is and buy it again because I was like, yeah, it's a good game, but I didn't really want to be tied to a console to play it. So that's the reference.
Didn't want to be tied down. Got you.
How could you say that, Mike?
He's all like, I can't, can't let me letting these games catch up to me. He's a gamer on the rise, bro. All right, can't be tied down.
I can't be tied down to that console no more, bro. I'm a Switch kid these days, bro.
Bruh.
Bro, what's up, guys?
All right, so let's start off with our Game of All Time tournament.
For those of you just tuning in, we, the lovable hosts of Just Another Castle podcast, are using the scientific method of loud argument and clan warfare to decide our favorite game of all time. Each of us threw our 8 favorite video games into the battle arena, but only one game can win it all. Each week, 2 games will face off in a single elimination battle. Lucky listeners will get to hear us argue and vote on which game survives into the next round. It's not going to be pretty, but eventually one game will be crowned as our ultimate super duper best game of all time. And we're all going to agree about the outcome, right? If you want to see the brackets and tournament updates, click over to www.challenge.com/justanothercastle. That's challenge, like challenge, with an O. And follow the fun for yourself. Also, for our most loyal listeners, every time there's a tie in our votes, we're going to survey our followers from Twitter for a tie-breaking vote. If you want to help out, please follow Just Another Castle or the Mango Viking on Twitter, and keep an eye out for your chance to cast a tie-breaking vote in the tournament. Leave luck to the heavens!
Woo!
All right, so recap for last week. Last week was Ocarina of Time, which won 3-1 against Theater Rhythm Final Fantasy, which I'm saddened but not surprised. And this week is Pokemon X and Y versus Red Dead Redemption. And the interesting thing is Eli can't make it this week, and his vote was for Red Dead Redemption. So
It doesn't matter. It doesn't count. Not here. Doesn't count.
Oh, I know. But
Yeah!
I'm explaining it so people know that's why we don't have someone else, voting on, but not voting, whatever, pitching on behalf of it. But Eli does say Red Dead is rad. So
yeah.
There's that.
Yeah, thanks, Eli. You're rad too, absent and rad.
All right, so I guess I'll go since I'm pitching it, and this is going to be a pretty terrible pitch because I didn't write one this time.
You're pitching for Pokemon XY, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, this is your game. You voted in.
Alrighty. So.
Oh God! Hey, I'll tell you one thing. I have no opinion on either game, so I'll be the decider.
So
As usual.
So to recap, it's Red Dead Redemption versus Pokemon XY.
Yeah. And
Matt, you're going to begin by giving us a defense of why Pokemon XY is one of your favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I guess I'll go with that one.
So you got like 30 seconds on the clock, right?
Yeah. Gosh, right. I'm not looking forward to this.
You're going to say a lot of intelligent things.
Oh, totally.
Alrighty, buddy. We want to hear why we should care about Pokemon XY. It's not a Game Boy Pokemon. It's not the new Switch Pokemon we're going to be talking about. 30 seconds on the clock. Go.
All right, crap. Out of all the Pokemon games, this one I think is by far the best. It introduces some new mechanics, so some of the more advanced mechanics that were previously a pain in the ass for a lot of veterans that wanted to do some advanced techniques and whatever. They can, play some mini games rather than go through all these other stats and whatnot. Crap, I spent half my time on garbage. I don't know. I really like all the Pokemon in this game, and the Pokemon monsters to me themselves are like half of the reason why I like these games, besides obviously the RPG mechanics and all that. And this has one of the best Pokemon rosters in their history. It's almost my favorite. I can't really depend. I don't know if I'd put it as my first, but it's definitely at least a close second to Sapphire in terms of favorites. And I'll end it there.
All righty. That's good defense.
Against nothing, maybe.
Against Red Dead's non-present defender.
Yep.
Here.
Exactly.
Mike, you said Mike's. So for the listeners, I know you'll. Yeah, I know the listeners that are riveted to see which one wins out of this week. They're kind of the same generation, right? The same generation.
Sorry, I'm just thinking evil thoughts. Go on.
Wow, Mike is gonna murder us after this somehow.
I know.
Oh man, it's gonna
are they roughly the same time period? Like, I mean, in terms of date.
Yeah.
No, Pokemon XY came out
2013.
technically later. So.
Yeah.
I mean, but roughly, like, I mean.
Yeah. Within the 2-year gap.
Right. Okay. So they're both relatively modern games. I mean, something to be said for that, because there's been a lot of those asymmetrical old versus new kind of matchups, thanks to me.
Yeah.
But,
Should I start your timer?
Oh, I don't know. Is it me? Oh, sure. I'll talk. Yeah, sure.
All right.
I'll
go.
All right. I've never played either. As I say often on the podcast, I'm not much of a Pokemon fan, but that's because I don't play RPGs. I did vote for Pokemon Red, I think, because sheerly on the Game Boy Music in a former match. Having watched a few videos today to try and get familiarized with both of them, I was a little more familiar with Red Dead than the Pokemon XY version. And watching videos, I can just tell it wouldn't be much of a contest. I would enjoy Red Dead more. I'm not a huge Rockstar type gamer, but I would like that game more were I to play either game. So I'm going to vote for Red Dead sheerly on knowing I would probably get a heck of a lot more out of it. I also wasn't crazy about the art style for the Pokemon videos that I was watching, but that's just a personal preference, not really a very informed one. So right. I'm voting Red Dead.
All right. Respectable. I like how you watch videos. Yep,
I want to get knowledge. I want to get some knowledge here. I've had friends tell me that Red Dead is like, something anybody would really like. Mm-hmm. And I always say, yeah, but I always play Rockstar games and I get a little bored. Mm. And then they're like, you'd still like that one. People always push back really hard about Red Dead. So I was like, all right, sounds kind of cool. Maybe someday, maybe they'll port that one to Switch and maybe I'll play it. It looked neat. I like the art style. It looked really good. It's probably too much talking and too much fetch questing and all that crap that's like in all Rockstar games. I don't know. Like I kind of get bored of them pretty quickly. Even Bully was good, but played it halfway through and just got bored of it and was like, never going to finish this. I don't know. I just sold it. But
I
GTA.
believe that you would like it more. Because
Yeah.
I think for Pokemon, like if you don't like RPGs, then it's like, okay, don't even bother. The game does nothing to help you understand all of the different advantages and whatnot. Like the only thing is in the new one, like Sun and Moon, if you fight a Pokemon you fought before, it'll tell you like which of the moves your current Pokemon has are like super effective.
Oh, okay.
Which can be useful, but you have to. There's like 800 of them now, and if you have to fight one for it to show up. So, and you might not even have the move that's like powerful against it. So, it's yeah.
If I'm honest, I got so bored while you were explaining it that I fell asleep.
Well, there you go. There's the proof for the listeners.
I kid, but I can just imagine trying to play a game like that. I'd be like,
no,
when is this going to get fun? Would be like my brain like the whole time. So no offense. I know Pokemon is like, and no both problem. These series are well regarded among the fans. So, it's personal taste. So, okay. So Mike is going to be. Sounds like Mike's going to be the deciding vote. Mike loves it. Mike loves it.
All right, I'll give you. Okay, Mike's gonna like. We're gonna hear cop sirens at the end of this episode. Mike's going so far.
Mike is really excited to once again be the deciding vote. I can see that already.
You can't tie this time.
Give the guy a timer.
All right, in 3, 2, 1, go.
I figured that Red Dead Redemption was a Wii game. Then you said Rockstar. I was like, oh shit, it wasn't. So I had those mixed up because I thought it was Red Revolver or whatever, some Wii game, whatever. Pokemon X and Y, Omega Yawn. It's the best of the anime series. If you don't like the original one though, with Serena and Ash, that's actually pretty dope. Satoshi, my boy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Rockstar. I mean, but Red Dead Redemption is getting a number 2, and Pokemon X and Y is not getting a number 2. There's that. And I don't like X and Y. Well, I do. I like the roller skates. I think. I don't know.
I have roller skates.
All right. I have to make the vote, right?
Gotta vote. Yeah. Gotta make a vote.
All right, quick. What do you guys think I'm voting for before I tell you? Because I already have my answer.
Oh man,
Matt's sweating bullets.
I have no idea.
Are you voting for like the Wii game that you thought it was?
Yeah. You can't do that.
I voted Pokemon X and Y because I owe Matt a vote. Let's go! Take that, Eli, for not coming.
Sorry
yeah, 1-1.
So I think you said Pokemon wins. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only reason I'm giving it to Pokemon is because I was there for the Omega release. It was a good year for Comic-Con, and one of my only good friends in college played Pokemon, and he played that the shit next to me. And I think it's the best of the anime, the new stuff. So I guess everything that's not about the game, that's why I got the vote. Has nothing to do with my choice. I mean, nothing to do with the game is why I voted for it. So
I'll take it.
I won. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Great. Wins greatest game of all time vote for no reason of gameplay at all.
Hooray for pity.
I was just going to say, this tournament rules.
Oh my God.
So what's the rules behind the tournament? I don't know. I had a really good year that year. My friend played it. So, yeah, sure.
All right, so that there you have it. Pokemon X and Y beats Red Dead Redemption.
It's official.
What's the game I was thinking of? Red Faction for the Wii?
There's Red Dead Revolver, so that is a game. It's not on the Wii. You were thinking of Red Steel.
He's thinking of Red Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
was better than Red Steel 2 was better than people think. Like, I mean, it was kind of fun.
Am I thinking of Red Steel? There's no way.
That's the only Red game like on the Wii.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a cowboy game on the Wii.
Okay, so there's
it was Red Steel.
Yeah.
Red Dead Steel?
Yeah, it was Red Steel. No, it's just called Red Steel.
No, see, there was Red Redemption Wii.
Yeah. No, there's Red Dead Revolver, but that wasn't on Wii.
Oh,
Red Steel
Dead
by
Revolver.
Ubisoft. Red Steel was a launch game, and then they came out with the second one years later with like Motion Plus and crap. So there is a Red game on the Wii, but it's not like by.
But there's no cowboy game on the Wii.
Well, it is a cowboy game.
I am getting confused just listening to this, and I'm here. So to clarify, I can't even say it anymore.
Let me clear it up.
Yeah,
let me clear it up.
Go ahead.
Rockstar has made a series called Red Dead and then something or other. So there's Red Dead Revolver and there's Red Dead Redemption and then Red Dead Redemption 2. Those are all by Rockstar. None of those are on the Wii. Red Steel is also a cowboy game. It's a first-person shooter, though, rather than third-person.
Red Steel 2 is a cowboy game. Just to clarify, Red Steel 2 is the first one was a mafia game,
okay,
and then the second.
Right. Sorry, Red Steel 2.
No, it is Red Steel. I was thinking of, I guess.
Yeah, and that's by Ubisoft. And
same thing.
And
basically.
It was okay. I mean, for the era on Wii, Red Steel 2 was fun because they were trying to get that Motion Plus stuff working, and it worked okay. But really, all you were doing was waggling your waggle. You know, you wagged your waggle to get that sword going on the screen, and it
Hey,
kinda worked.
nothing waggles better than mother effing Squidward's sword. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a lot like Squidward's sword in
What?
the whole like it was a lot like Skyward Sword, like in the whole wiggling the remote to do the sword. Like it was a lot like that. It really was. Like
Man,
it
I'm
was
very upset you didn't get that. All right.
I know. I should have realized by now.
All right, I was like swinging my clarinet around, and I practiced and practiced, but I never got any better. All right, so
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Alrighty. That's the
one
tourney.
question before we move on. Please, for the love of crap, Uno Clay, tell me I'm not I'm not fighting again next week.
yeah, who's next week? Who's next week?
Let's
It
see.
is-
Like
Super Mario
previewing for the
64
people.
and Banjo Tooie. I don't
Come
know if I
on!
wrote one of them. I know that's
Banjo
difficult.
Tooie versus M64,
You don't
man.
have to
That
say
Mike's
who
gonna
did
struggle.
it, but
Mike's gonna struggle. You can tell right there. He's gonna be crying all week trying to.
Nah,
think
it's
about
an
how
easy choice, but how dare you double eliminate
I
my
know.
games and you let trash like Red Dead Redemption and Pokemon fight each other?
it's okay.
Oh
Pokemon's
man,
not gonna
nah. I think somebody else put the Super Mario 64 higher on their list than you did, Mike.
Oh,
To tell
gosh.
you just
I
straight
might have
up,
to, like, look
Because-
at
No
my
way,
list.
because I put that shit too, I believe.
you did.
There are probably
You
multiple
did.
ones.
I spoiling ahead a little bit, but like yeah, multiple people put it in. But if someone whoever had it higher in their seating order is how I would rank it.
Yeah.
So it's like I took it from whoever had it higher on their list, and then
I thought Matt
crossed
would
it.
have my back with Tui so we could destroy Red Dead Redemption together.
Who said I
Man.
didn't? We'll find out next week. I
We'll
just
find
don't.
out next.
Please.
It doesn't matter. We already know who's winning next week.
No, we
The
don't.
greatest game of all time. That's not the greatest game of all time. Okay.
They're both the
Alrighty.
greatest game of all time.
They're both pretty
Please,
good.
for the love of God, someone else take that seat. I don't want to go 5 weeks in a row.
Oh baby, we're gonna see next week.
God.
Oh, don't worry. When
Alright.
all my games
Well-
make it to the end, I'll have the same struggle.
All
It's
right.
okay,
that's
only one of mine has gone through, I think, and that's Pokemon. Anyway, well,
What's the link
we'll
again,
start
Floyd, so I
with
can look?
names.
Oh, never. Wait. I got it. It's
Yeah.
shallow.com slash
Put it in the thing.
another castle.
Yep. All right, so we'll move on to, I guess, what we've been playing.
So
I have
Matt,
been, yeah.
playing anything?
Sorry,
I'm
this is-
very upset. Before we keep going on, Wind Waker's the only 4-0 right now. That's upsetting.
Well,
one-
yeah,
That's
I
weird,
guess it might
yeah.
be.
Oh, yeah, I guess Uno Clay switched.
Yeah,
That's
he
weird.
heard my argument. He's like, "Damn."
I don't recall. Yeah, I think I did. I voted against my own game because I love both games. If
Don't
the listeners
forget,
would
in
like-
2 weeks you need to edit that. Sonic and Knuckles is a different game from Sonic
For
2
the-
and Knuckles. Remember
All right, we'll
the
we'll
key
get to
facts,
the listeners.
all right?
The listeners are being bored to death by us talking about our brackets right now.
Yeah,
but
we
like,
are.
yeah, shoot me an email about what needs to change because I don't think I can change the seating, but we can just discuss openly. I can't change the names of the things that are seated.
Oh
in
yeah,
the
wait, you
board.
can't. Yeah.
Now that
All right, don't worry. All right, Clay, tell me what you played already.
all right, no, it's Matt. No.
All right, whatever.
Have you played anything this week?
Yeah, I started up Dishonored 2, which I bought a couple of months ago, and some other games got in the way, so I just put on like the back burner. And I'm having fun with it. If you don't know, or at least probably Uno Clay, it is a stealth game where you are an assassin, sort of. It continues after the first one. The first one is someone kills the queen, and everyone suspects it's her like not her right hand man, like her guard, her personal guard that killed him. So he has to like absolve himself from the crimes and show that it wasn't him. And then in the second one, so the queen had a daughter, and he's also trying to protect her. I don't really understand. I think he's her father, but I don't recall him like being like his biological father or whatever. I don't actually remember. Regardless, he's referred to as her father anyway. But in the second one, she grows up, I guess everyone grows up, but she's an adult now, and she's actually
Not Peter
in charge
Pan.
of the throne. Yeah, she's in charge of the throne now, and you can actually choose which character you want, and the one you don't want gets turned to stone. So I thought I would play Emily, the daughter, because whatever. got a new game, might as well try a new character. And I'm having fun with it, but man, my way too OCD, because I'm on like the third mission, and I've taken 8 hours to play it.
Oh my god.
It was a big mansion, this third level. And I was like, oh, I can see all the other equipment. I'm gonna have to get some of that because I missed, like, at the end of each level it tells you like what you missed in terms of coins and different items and whatnot. And I'm like, man, I really missed a lot the last time, so I'm gonna try to get it all now. And man, basically I just go up to like every guard and chokehold him so I don't have to like deal with him later, because I want to do like a good end. Because if you kill everyone, then you'll get like a bad end. Sort of thing.
I'm looking at this, like, I've never played this. From the name, I would have thought it was like a military World War II shooter. Is this like Assassin's Creed kind of gameplay, or what is this?
No,
like, I'm looking at
it's a stealth game, so you have to like sneak your way into everything. Yeah. So cool. You can either choke guards when you're behind them or kill them. If you choke them, you can get a good ending. If you kill them, you'll get a bad ending. So plus I think it's more fun if you try to be more stealthy rather than just like kill everyone, because then why even playing this game? It's a dumb thing. But
totally.
Yeah, no, I like it. I was hoping to have it done before God of War comes out this week. I don't think that's gonna happen.
Wait, God of War isn't out? Oh, all the reviews are out, so I thought it was already
a week early. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, speaking of stealth games, Mark of the Ninja is coming to Switch, so watch out for that as well. I'm just going to keep pushing it. But yeah.
Nice, cool. So good game. You're enjoying this. You're playing on a PS4?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So it looks cool. I mean, I like a good stealth game. The name I had not. I've heard of it vaguely, but I definitely would have thought it. Like I said, for some reason, it just reminds me of like Medal of Honor or something, like with a title like that, like Dishonored.
Yeah,
like,
it does. It sounds like someone was like let go of the military and he has to like deal with whatever after.
Yeah, fight his way back to the top.
Yeah.
Like, like I don't know. Like it was looking at the screenshots, then I thought, oh boy, he's playing like one of those Assassin's Creed games. How fun that looks like. Not, but yeah, neat. That looks cool. Like I'm not super familiar with it. Had you played Dishonored 1?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, cool. So you're a humongous fan. Top game of all time.
I don't know about that, but I like the first one.
Cool.
So
awesome.
It's cool because you can like teleport. Like that's one of the big things. You can teleport between to a certain distance. So you can like teleport right up behind a guard and do whatever you want, or like climb up to, like I climbed up on the outside of like a mansion at one point to get some items. So you have a lot of different powers. You can like possess a rat and then move into like the sewers and whatnot to get around. They have a lot of different ways.
That's cool
to get around. Yeah.
I love a good stealth game. I wish they would bring some of the Metal Gear games to Switch, because we all know they're kind of like the top of stealth, or at least some of them portend to be. I would love to play a good stealth game in this genre on Switch at some point. I do enjoy that sort of gameplay on occasion. So that sounds cool. Nice.
Yeah. And well, I think Snake Eater was on GameCube, and you have a Wii, so you could always buy that and play that way.
I played that. Yeah, it was okay. It's a little dated. Like I played it like a year ago maybe, and I thought it felt pretty dated by modern gaming control standards. Not having played it back then. It was all right. Like I really liked the original, like vibe of the Metal Gear series, and the way it's directed, and the goofy meta, fourth wall type stuff, and all the bosses and the cartoonishness of it. I liked all that. It was more the controls than anything. At points felt a little wonky, like just the way just literally the way it controls, and you couldn't remap controls like in the way I would have needed to. So to make it feel a little better, but it was fine. I enjoyed it. Like I actually have a disc of the second one, which I know is controversial for PlayStation 2, laying around here somewhere that I need to play someday. But I've heard that one is not everyone's favorite. I did play 3 on 3DS, which I'd recommend if anybody out there is like,
isn't that Snake Eater 3?
am I getting confused? Twin Snakes is the one on GameCube. Yeah, I was mistaken when you said
Okay.
Twin Snakes.
That's fair.
Yeah, so that's Metal Gear 1.
Because I was thinking Snake Eater.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, the third one's on 3DS. And if anyone's out there's like me, hasn't played a Metal Gear game and you want to try them out, I jumped into that one. I played original. Well, I played the NES Metal Gears. There's a lot of controversy about whether those are original. It's a spoiler. They're not. But like the first Metal Gears on NES, which are completely different. But if you've never played the 3D ones, the third one is, I think, regarded as the best.
Yeah, I was going to say that's why.
Snake
So when you're like, it's not that great, I'm like, that's interesting take, because I've heard like the third one is like one of the best.
Oh yeah, it's really good. And even if you haven't played the others, the storyline for Metal Gear is so freaking convoluted and like insane, comic book, insane, that like it doesn't really matter to someone like me. Like I was like, I don't care. It's a military sneaky, subterfuge, military super spy action, game. Like it's fine. I don't really need to know all this backstory. And the game does a really good job of like with cinema cutscenes of like explaining kind of like the world you're in and like what the stakes are and stuff like that, even if you're not following the overall plot of Snake and stuff like that. So I got a lot out of it. And 3 is just a really well designed game. So it's on 3DS. It runs a little like hiccupy because it's such a bulky game that you can feel the system straining a little bit, or at least that the port that they did of it, you can feel it strain a little bit when you played it on 3DS, but I'd still recommend it. I had a great time with it. It was awesome. I've loaned it to several people to play through since buying that back in the day. So it's a good way to get it in the series, I'd say.
Cool.
So cool.
All right. So Mike, what have you been playing this week or doing?
I didn't really play anything. Billy got married, as you guys know. My best friend guy I record YouTube videos with, so I was basically back in New York for the week. Did I play? I'm literally trying to remember if I played anything before that. I picked up Gravity Rush 2, which was really hard to get, actually. Like, there's no more on Amazon.
Yeah, I heard, like, either the first or second one, like, jumped up in price to, like, $140 or something ridiculous.
No, wait, really? Yeah. I know the first one was remakes. I played that originally on my Vita back in the day. When I actually first got my Vita, it was a free game. It was part of PS Plus, and I was like, oh, I'll get Gravity Rush 2 later on, and it's just like pretty hard to find. And when I bought it from GameStop, I don't even have the case. They gave me one of those bullshit GameStop cases, Like I was like, where the hell is the case? It's like, who the hell sells the game without the case these days? But yeah, man, I picked it up. I haven't touched it yet. I'm going to. But I think it might have been Gravity Rush 1 that might be the remaster one that might be the big money one. I don't know, but I enjoyed the first one. All right, you know what? Why would the remaster be the big money one? Makes no sense. I don't know. It's too complicated. But I'm looking to enjoy playing that, and then I obviously like a bit on the plane. I played some Xenoblade, but nah, dude, freaking. Like I said, it was kind of surreal seeing my boy get married. It was an awesome time. So, and yeah, but yeah, no, it was lit. I had an awesome time, and
That's awesome.
just made me realize I was like, shit, dude, like, am I old? And I was like, nah, I ain't old.
It's the children that are old.
So
yeah,
like,
I was like, they got married.
Yes.
They're old. All right, well, I was watching my SpongeBob.
So your boy gets married. Like, were you in the wedding at all, or like were you part of the wedding, or were you like more
I
side?
couldn't be a part of the wedding. Like, I couldn't be a groomsman, because I wasn't really around for rehearsal dinners and that crap and stuff. But
Yep.
yeah, it was like me and Mark. Cause
That's
like
better.
Billy, I've known since I was like 5. He's actually like one of my neighbors, like a few blocks up. But yeah, I wasn't around, and neither is Mark when him traveling all that. So he got another one of our old classmates, and then like one guy from and like basically like 2 guys from his block, and it was like, hey, I know them, but like not too much. But basically, my table is all my old classmates with him and shit. Like we still hang as like they're my friends till this day. So it's just funny, like seeing like the kids I grew up when I was like 5 and 6, and it's like we're all still like together and shit. So.
That's the best. That's the best kind of wedding. So there you go. And not being in the wedding, frankly, man, I've been to a good number in my day, and like it's expensive because you got to buy that suit. A lot of times you got to rent that suit at the very least. And so like, just like girls will tell you, like, you don't want to be a bridesmaid that much because like the most popular girls that have to be a bridesmaid all the time are spending thousands of dollars like every year to get that dress like for the wedding. Yeah. And like, so guys get off a little bit easier because you don't get asked as often, it seems like, as girls do. But like, it's truly a curse, like that you're like, oh, I'm happy for my boy. And now I got to spend all this money. Ooh.
Yeah. Look, I mean, honestly, the only regret I had was when I flew back, my cab cost as much as my plane ride back. And I was like, what the fuck?
Shut up.
Yeah, dude, it cost me $220.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
About?
And I'm an idiot because my Lyft was $130 and I thought I was getting a discount. And I was like, oh yeah, you know what? F this guy. Like, I can't believe, why is my Lyft $130 when it's always like $40? You know what I mean? And then I got basically cucked, and I was like, holy shit, I just spent basically one flight home for me the way the deal I got. Basically, I lost all the money off the deal I got. So.
What are you talking? Like, I'm trying to process this. You paid how much for a cab ride?
$200.
Oh my gosh.
Where were you going? Matt said it. Where were you? What do you mean? Like, how is that possible? Like,
don't do
a cab ride for an hour
too
and a
many
half?
details. Just know I cried myself to sleep last night. Know that.
Did you fall asleep in the cab and the guy just drove you around and raped your sleeping corpse? Like, what is?
Dude, nope. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Okay, I was like, how is the Lyft $130? That's what I was trying to figure out at first. And I was like, how can I be an idiot and trust a yellow cab? All right. I thought maybe they were trying to oh, the Lyft's doing this, and like maybe the yellow cabs will fight. You know what I mean? They'll fight to get me a better price or some shit. You know.
I am in awe. That is insane because I've talked to like Uber drivers and Lyft drivers here in Philadelphia and like asked them, like, do you ever get crazy rides? And they're like, oh yeah, all the time. We'll get people get in the cab in Philly here and they'll be like, I want to go to Atlantic City. And we'll be like, yo, that's going to be like $150, right? You know that's like an hour like ride, and they're like, yeah, we don't care. And they're just like, all righty then, off we go.
Yeah, I was like looking for a bus and I was like, shit, I got back at like 1 a.m. and I was like, why the hell are there no Greyhounds at this time? But, it's not really. Greyhounds are really more for getting like to a city to like another state. Like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm already mad thinking about it.
All right. It makes you feel any better. I got a driving ticket yesterday for like driving in the turning lane for like a block when I shouldn't have, and it wasn't in Philly because the hick cops outside of Philly go ahead and give you a ticket for stuff like that. Yeah. 180 beans for me yesterday, so I know the feeling.
Bro.
I know the feeling. I'm just burned up.
Dude, those kill your day. Like when you come back, like you have a great day, then you'll see like an orange ticket on your park, and you'll be like, "What?"
Here's the funniest thing. My mom was in the car because actually we were talking about movies before we came on the air. I had taken her to see a movie and go out to dinner for her birthday because that's all she wanted. She's just like, your dad hates going to the movies. I love going to the movies. You want to go to see a movie and grab some food? I was like, that sounds like a great birthday present. Let's do it. And then it ruined my mom's birthday on top of it. And she's yelling at the cop over me going, like, she goes, it's my birthday. How dare you give him a ticket on my birthday? Like, I'm like, Mom, you got to calm down, yo.
You're going to get me another ticket. Stop it.
That sounds like my grandma, too.
She's like, it's not right. It's not right. She's going, it's not right to the cop. I'm like, Mom, you're going to get me in more trouble here. I'm already
Guy's like, oh, it's not right, huh? Get your ass to the ground, Clay.
It was tense. It was tense already. He didn't like that I tried to get out of the car to talk to him. It was already a tense situation. So it was a good day. So I know you're feeling. on the ouch. That costs a lot when I didn't expect that kind of thing. So
I was like, shit, man. Because I still had to, obviously I was gone for the week, so I had to buy new groceries and this, and I was like, son of a bitch. That's basically like 2 weeks of groceries right there.
Yeah, that burns, bro. That's painful, man.
I'll just starve for 2 weeks, then it'll balance out. So it'll be good.
Alrighty. So what we Matt, you get any tickets yesterday? You've been spending some money on tickets?
Yeah, Matt, the ticket podcast now. Okay.
What we've been ticketing over here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So you didn't play any games on the plane, man? You weren't playing your Switch,
dude,
or you
I
like not even your Switch
on the plane? I just sat on the plane and slept before even takeoff. All right.
All right. I knew it.
And then I told you I watched Justice League when I woke up because I was like, oh, there's only 2 hours left. I was like, oh, let me watch one movie. And then I was like, man, this movie blows. So.
Yep. Well, this is that. I figured you just like I knew you were just like Matt. You're out there like you don't want to take that Switch anywhere. You want to leave that.
No, I just never took it out. I was just like, oh, here it is. I'm gonna go to sleep. Like I literally slept before takeoff. Like that's how fast. That's
oh man.
Yep. Good stuff.
That's crazy. Before we get on to you, Clay, I checked just to see how much it would cost to get Snake Eater because it was like a launch title for the 3DS or close enough to it.
It was early.
Yeah.
It was early.
And it's still $55 over here.
I believe it.
It's
I'd say it probably.
I'm like, geez.
It probably didn't have a huge print run, I'd imagine, because it's probably a little more of a like niche release that they would have printed more at the time. But
yeah, but then I would expect it to not be on Amazon. Still be
but
there.
It's freaking Metal Gear. It's going to cost a bit for. I mean, because like I think I told a story on the show already. I bought Twin Snakes for GameCube for around $40 or $50 before 5 came out. Played through it around the time when 5 came out, and then during the big hype for 5, I could tell everybody was getting the collector's bug for the earlier ones, and then I sold it for like I did an Eli and sold it for like $80, like after I was done playing it, because it was like it just bounced up in price just because the hype around 5, and I was like, all right, I'm getting my money back and then some for this one, So it was like because it was the kind of game where I was like, I'm never gonna play this again. It was good. I could just buy it again if I want to sometime, but it was fine, whatever.
It's 6 years old.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're talking about this. Part 3 for 3DS. Yeah, but I mean, that's a good way to play it, It's a portable version of a really popular game.
And?
Guess
what?
And what?
There's a demo available.
There's a demo. That's for you, Matt. So in case you want to know what Snake Eater is like, you can get all over that right now. So it's good. It's real good. Recommended. So.
Nice. So since you're talking anyway, have you been playing anything this week?
I have. Quickly, let's see what's more relevant. I've been playing Rive. I finished it for the Switch. It's a shorter indie style twin stick shooter, but not your standard one. It's called Rive, Rive, the Ultimate Edition. I don't know what makes it Ultimate. I guess it probably has all the content that was probably not there in former versions, maybe on Steam or wherever else it came out. But it's really fun. I got it on sale a while ago. I don't know what it retails for now. I'd imagine probably around $10. I think I got it for like 7 or 8 when it went on sale because I wanted it. It's really fun if you're into twin stick shooters, but it's more like it's much different than your average twin stick where it's like more like an arcade experience. This is more like a campaign where you go through a game as a little tank that kind of can change from a spaceship to a tank, kind of different levels depending, like you fly sometimes you're on the ground. Different sub weapons, and it's a lot of like wave based like attacks, like a lot of enemies swarming you from all directions. Real fun. I've been playing that a bunch. I've been going through it on hard because those kind of games are my bread and butter. It's not too long of a game. I finished it the first time through pretty quickly, probably maybe 3 hours of game content, and then that was on the regular normal difficulty. On the harder difficulty, if you're not good at twin stick shooters, it might take you a little longer, but I'm enjoying it. It's humorous. It's different. It's all I can say is like twin sticks are usually more like an arcade experience where it's like endless waves or something like that, like think Geometry Wars or anything like that. This is like definitely like a game with a story and level structure, where you're proceeding through a level, like you're fending off a wave and then a gate opens and then you move to the next part. And it's got a lot of character. It's got a lot of like kind of dialogue between the main character and this AI robot that's harassing him. It's sort of like a HAL, like 2001 HAL type robot harassing him. But it's got a lot of humor. It's fun. It's cheap. If you want a good arcadey type shooting spaceship funny game, it's good. It's got high score leaderboards so you can see your friends on Switch, like if you've gotten higher scores than them and stuff like that on the levels. So, so that's cool if you like that kind of thing. And like I said, it's affordable, so it's definitely something to add to your catalog on your Switch. It runs really well, looks good. It's got a cool art style. It's cartoony. But the game I've really been enjoying, I know Matt had seen me post something about it on Twitter and commented on it. I've been playing Chibi Robo on GameCube.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
I want to hear this.
It's great. It's great. I really like it. Like, I didn't know what to expect going into it, and it is, if you're listening to this podcast and you're a Nintendo fan, which I would assume the only reason you're listening to this is either you are like just love the sound of Mike's voice and Matt's humor.
Well, that's
you know, it's just part of the deal. But if you're a Nintendo fan, Chibi Robo is literally, I dare say, Nintendo at their core. Like, it's so bizarre and so funny. Like, think Tingle, but like weirder at a lot of points, but like with a lot of heart. Like, it's a very, very odd game, and it's not very actiony. It's more like an adventure puzzle game, and it's got a little bit of Pikmin's DNA in it, like only in the sense that it's kind of like you're a tiny creature in this giant world, and you're trying to solve how to use these things that are much bigger than you in a lot of cases. Like, so there's that. If you can feel Pikmin, even if there's no relationship in terms of who developed and directed it, I'm not sure, but you can feel Pikmin's DNA a little bit there just because it's Nintendo. But it's also very Japanese in terms of the plot line, and like the stuff you're doing in the game has like a kind of Japanese flavor to like a lot of the dialogue and a lot of the like the way it's translated and stuff. But it's just really charming, and I don't want to. I'm almost like not saying too much because I don't want to spoil kind of the plot, like, or anything like that, because it's a plot driven game almost. There's a story that you as Chibi Robo are moving through in this giant house where this family's living, and you're this tiny little robot running around their house, and you're kind of unraveling the plot as you do this adventure. But at the same time, it's also really fun because it's kind of a gated, not quite Metroidvania game, but like you're trying to like, you'll work in this one area of the house. You're tiny, so like the whole living room is enormous. It's this enormous room, and you're in it. It's like a whole world, and you're trying to like figure out, how do I get up there on top of that table, or how do I like get underneath that thing over there, and like I need to get over there because I can see there's this piece of the puzzle I need sitting on top of that desk, but I can't get up there. So I think I need to like upgrade my machine, or I need to get some special skills or something like that to upgrade my robot to like get up there. And then the house starts to open up, and you're going to different parts of the house and like finding new mysteries. It's full of zany, weird characters, almost Zelda style. Like you're just running into weird characters in like different parts of the house. It's got a little bit of Toy Story. It feels like Pixar a lot of times.
I was gonna say it's like Toy Story if it was a game.
Yeah.
It has a game, but still.
Yeah, totally. It feels, I haven't done any research on like the backstory of the making of Chibi Robo, but it feels very Pixar-y. It almost feels like a reaction to Pixar movies, like at many points. Like the characters in it. There's a character that's what's the Rocket Man's name in the star of I want to say Zap Brannigan. That's not right.
That guy. I forget.
Story. Like what's his?
Buzz Lightyear.
Guy. Buzz Lightyear. There's a character that is like a Japanese version of Buzz Lightyear, like straight up ripoff almost, like in it. So, and the cutscenes feel very Pixar-y because the characters are all wacky with like their own side stories going on, and you kind of have to help out people. But there's a lot of optional side missions, like almost Zelda-ish again, that you're like, well, I don't think I have to do that to finish the game, is what your sense is. You're like, I could do that. But the game is kind of charming enough that you want to. You kind of like want to see what happens if you go help that character and be like, he's like, I need you to like go find this. You're like, all right, well, I'll keep my eyes open for it, bro. And you go play the game, and then later you find it, and you're thinking, I got to walk all the way across the house back to that place where that guy is sitting. And then you're like, I'm gonna do it because I want to see what he does when I give it to him, kind of thing. It's amazing. It's a pure Nintendo experience, and so I can't say enough. If you have a Wii that can play GameCube games, I don't know if they released it on Virtual Console ever. Maybe.
Apparently there's a new Play Control version. I don't know if that was released outside Japan or not. I know a bunch of different new Play Control ones did come over here. I don't know if
I don't remember
specifically
that.
did.
I don't know. I don't remember that coming out.
I'm just looking at the like Wikipedia page and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, like, I don't think it was very expensive for the GameCube disc. My wife got it from me for Christmas because I'd written it down on a list of things that I thought were kind of interesting games that I might not spring for, but I don't think she paid a ton for it. So even if you had to get the original GameCube disc and play it on your Wii or play it on your GameCube or something, I'd recommend it. It's hilarious. If you're a Nintendo fan enough to listen to nerds like us talk about Nintendo, I think it's a must play, kind of in the vein of like you would tell somebody you should play Pikmin at least once and see if it's for you. You should try Pokemon and see if it's your kind of thing. You know, you like Nintendo, well, you know, this is kind of par for the course. You know, it's really funny. It makes me want to play it, and it's not even my kind of game because it's a little slow at parts. You're like walking around, spending a lot of time walking from place to place because you're tiny, but the game is really well like executed that you feel tiny in this giant world. Like you're just like looking up at this humongous world, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style, like world where you're always like, that dog is a skyscraper to me. You know, I'm running around on the floor here, you know, and like, how do I get on top of this like tiny little table is literally a puzzle I'm trying to figure out because I can see this piece of a puzzle on top of it. I'm like, I don't know how to get up there. Like, I think I need to get above it and jump down, but I need to like hover and like land over there, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's Nintendo. It's we know there was that reboot that was a completely different game for 3DS the other year. So I'm debating whether I'm ever going to bother playing that. I kind of like to see what happens to the character, but I don't believe it's the same kind of game. It's not like a 3D. And I know you, Matt, and you, Mike, both love, in my experience, you tend to love like kind of 3D, like puzzle action type games, you know, like Mario, whether it's Mario 64 or all these other games we always talk about, you know, like, so, you know, that's not always my kind of game. So I'm surprised by how much I like it is what I'm trying to say. So you guys would probably enjoy it too, if you get the chance.
I like that.
So
when I first,
when
a lot of the times I would rent games and I would do it based off of the box art, mostly because I either didn't have internet or access to it or whatever. So, you know, you just go off of that and see what it was. And honestly, I thought it was like supposed to be a 3D, you know, platformer with like some action or bosses or whatever. And I was like, okay, when's the boss coming? And it never came. But by that point, I'm like, I like this kind of world. It's fun. It's cute and quirky and whatnot.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, there's no bosses. There's like, not that I've encountered, because you're not really a combat robot. You do have a blaster, but you kind of like, you have a blaster, but it's more for solving puzzles and like opening up passageways and stuff like that. So you've played it, but have you finished it?
Yeah. I don't know, to be honest, because a lot of like sometimes I can remember the endings of games, but I don't know if I like just looked it up or if I actually beat it at one point, because I know how it ends, but I know I know I played it for a while. That's for sure.
I feel foolish because I didn't realize you'd played it. So I was going all that time. I would have asked you for more input on it. Like, so you liked it. What's your takeaway? I don't want to bias you. You know, what did you think about it when you played it?
Like I said before, I kind of went in with like false pretenses, thinking there'd be like some action in it, and then I realized there wasn't. But by that point, I'm like, I kind of like this thing anyway, even though it wasn't what I expected. So I'm glad I went through it that way, because I probably would, if someone told me like, yeah, there's no action, like I probably wouldn't have bothered as like a teenager or whatever, or probably would have been like, oh, I'll just get something else. But
it doesn't sell itself well when you tell someone, and you get to clean stuff in the game.
Yeah,
it doesn't
I know.
Sell.
Man, when you get a toothbrush, it's so great.
Sick.
Yeah, and because it does sound ridiculous when you say that that's actually even fun, because the sound design of the game is so clever.
Oh man,
that like when you're like
all the little
doing
chimes.
stuff. It's
so
really beautifully
clever.
sound design is like a reason to play it or check out some videos, because there's so much context sensitive sound in the game. Like you're cleaning stuff, and the sounds it makes while you're working are really cute. And when you're walking, there's like really context sensitive sound effects, like when you're walking around, that like make it funny just to walk, because the soundtrack changes depending on how you're walking and where you're walking and stuff. So
and like putting things in
I've heard that Chibi Robo is at its end though. It didn't do too hot in the 3DS, the last game that came out.
Unfortunately,
that
they basically said like the franchise is riding on this one 3DS game that has nothing to do with the series at all, and then it tanked, and then it's like, well, he's dead.
Damn.
He's dead, Jim.
That's bull though. Like you're saying it had nothing to do with the series though? Like,
no, because it basically was just another 2D platformer game on the 3DS. It's like, well, we have like 6 other games that do exactly that are going to be like better. So why?
Yeah.
I think they're just like, look, we don't think this game in that style anymore is going to sell, so do something else or don't bother. I'm guessing that's how it went.
And now he's a Smash Bros. Assist. Got it.
I hope.
Yeah, he is, isn't it?
I hope he becomes.
Well, isn't he a
playable.
trophy or is he an assist?
No, I think he's just a trophy. I don't remember him being an assist.
That's what I'm saying. He'll be an assist. That's it.
Oh,
There we
that'd
go.
be great. I hope he's playable. Like at this point,
Like-
Smash Brothers, you can like, you've gotten all the main characters. You're just going through the
You're far.
not the dumpster. I don't
Yeah.
want to say, but you know, you're digging
Hey,
in the
yeah,
bottom
great
of the
character.
barrel. You go to the bottom of the barrel. You might as well go for the cool ones. I don't care. Don't
Yeah.
give me the Toad or Daisy or Waluigi. It's garbage. Give me like a character that's like an actual unique character.
But Matt, then you get down to and go, hello, like that. Then you know, they'll be like, like how's it going?
Toad already made it in. Isn't Toad in Peach's pocket? Yeah, Toad's in Peach's pocket.
Yeah.
The last one. Toad already made
No,
it.
yeah,
in.
he's always been, yeah.
People want, like,
since
Captain
Braille.
Toad or
I mean, since
whatever.
Melee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So coolness.
Yeah, but
Yes, that's what I've been playing. So I can't even wait to play more of it tonight. Now that I've been talking about it, I'm like, I made some major progress in Chibi last night, where I was like, it's just a very gated game where like you'll be doing the same thing for a while, and then all of a sudden you'll make a breakthrough and like get this new weapon or new item that like ungates a whole section of the game. And that's what happened to me right before I quit last night. I was like, oh man, like this whole other room I think is like open to me now or whatever kind of thing. So it was like, it's got that going for it, where you're like, you want to go back and see the next thing, you know. And even if the game isn't like super action oriented, it's more like exploration and comedy, a lot of comedy cutscenes and stuff like that. So
yeah, if you like character interaction, it's perfect
yeah.
for that.
It's a little long at points. I'll be honest with that. That's the one thing, because they're unskippable, like most of the cutscenes, and so like I know that's like a death knell for some people. They're not like long, but they are like enough that like sometimes I'm a little bit like, okay, like this character has been talking seriously for like a minute, you know what I mean? And like I want to skip it. That would be like the only complaint I almost have about the whole game, that I'm like, I wish sometimes I could click through the dialogue, like, but they have like timed animations. You can feel it. It's like that Pixar type thing almost. Like they want it to be like a movie almost. So it's like it's got timed animation sequences that like I think is why you can't skip stuff, so that you have to like see the action play out kind of on screen or whatever. So it's not a deal breaker for me at all. There once in a while it goes on a little long. Like thankfully usually the characters will ask you before they tell you a story that's long. They'll be like, so do you want to hear my story? And it's like, I'm like, I have to say yes, because I need to advance the story, but like at least it gives you a choice. Because I'm like, no, not really. I'd rather just like play the game. But like, okay.
yeah, no, I don't care about you, man. I'm just trying to play.
Like,
Well,
for
then
real.
you can't go on anywhere.
Yeah, it's like, well, you can walk away and go do something else, but you're gonna eventually have to come back and hear that story, is what you know in your heart. You're like, oh, brother. Like, yeah. So good game though. Great game. Yeah.
Chibi
And
Robo. All I have to say is
Chibi-
I love that.
It is.
So
It's
great.
a great sound design. It really is. It makes the game. So that kind of stuff is awesome. That's how, for the listeners who are like, Matt, you play just been crazy. That's how Chibi talks. So because he's Chibi, you know, because he's Chibi.
All right,
All right,
so
Mike.
we'll get on to some other stuff. Just
What we've
two
been
small-
chewing.
Yeah, two small announcements I thought I'd throw out there. Apparently, Dragon Quest is going to come out eventually. It's going to be well after the PS4 release. So
wait, before we go on, Matt,
Hmm?
one thing I want to ask about Chibi Robo.
Yep.
Is the amiibo rare for him? 'Cause I remember he came out with an amiibo.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's I
I've
thought you would be
seen
one of the
some
guys
people-
who picked them up. So I was just wondering.
I don't know. I know some
No,
people have like it's gotten
You're
cheap
thinking
at
of
some
Eli?
places. So
You're
Oh yeah, that
thinking
is true. I am thinking of Eli, but the thing is though, Chibi Robo is just so. What's the word? Niche would be the right word.
yeah,
Yeah,
So-
like, and Matt's the only guy I know who actually knows of Chibi Robo. So I thought he'd be like, "Hey, I gotta support my boy." you know.
I know. I
But
thought
all
about
right, you know
that.
what? Based on everything said, I might give it a look. I was gonna try the
I
3DS one, but you guys said that's not a good one to try. Well, Matt
Not
said
good.
that.
No.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
I didn't
yeah.
play it, but it's not really like what made the series. I wouldn't.
Cool,
bother.
cool.
Yeah.
That was something big. I was like, all right, since they're giving it such a good review, I'll get the 3DS one. And you're like, no, you fool. That's like playing like like Animal Crossing
It's like
Party or
saying,
something.
"Here, I'll introduce you to Zelda. Here's the crossbow training."
Oh, I love that game. But yeah. I get you. You're like, then you play every other Zelda game. Like, when do I first person crossbow train?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, never, and you're like, trash.
I don't want an action adventure or somewhat RPG with a story. I'm just trying to freaking get my thing going, get my crossbow going, man.
Yeah, definitely play the original. I think you would like it, Mike, based on like the kind of games that like you do tend to like. I think you'd enjoy it. It's not hard. That's just be the only thing. It's more like an adventure exploration game, but it's Super Nintendo everything. Like everything about it screams Nintendo the whole time. You're like, this.
And it's a GameCube game, right? Not a Wii game. Yeah, I always thought it was a Wii thing too. Like just like Animal Crossing, I always thought that was like a DS kind of thing. Like both of those started on the GameCube, and I'm like, what the hell? You know,
well,
like
yeah,
huge
Animal Crossing even started on the N64. It just wasn't.
No way.
Yeah, it was Japan. It was
okay.
Animal Forest. I don't know why I know these random things. I don't even care about Animal Crossing.
Well, you must be watching that. Did you know gaming too much?
Probably.
You're
I'm just bored on Wikipedia.
Good that you know this.
Cool. At least we got our factoids out of the way today, so thank you.
Yeah.
Factoid covered. Nice.
What's
going on in the news?
I want to bring up 2 news things quickly. If you care about Dragon Quest, well, get ready to wait because that's not coming for several years. They're basically like, yeah, we're working on the PS4 version, and we're not gonna be able to do the Switch one until after. So good luck with that.
Wait. Which Dragon Quest number is it? I thought the 3DS and PS4 were getting. Yeah. But it's for the 3DS and PS4, not for the Switch. And
no, so there was, I think 10 was on the. Let me just double check while I'm doing this.
10 was on the Wii, but that was an online only, I believe.
Okay, no, Dragon Quest 10, it was on the Wii, but they put on the Wii U and the Switch and the PS4 and the 3DS.
What the heck?
Yeah, because I was confused about that too when like I saw Eli or someone tweet like Dragon Quest 11 announced some like, wait, what? Didn't they just have another one released? But I think it might have just been like a port or something. I'm not sure because I know. Yeah, I remember seeing like, oh, the 3DS one, the top one's 3D and the bottom one's sprites. I don't know.
Yeah, that was the cool thing about it because it's supposed to be like the old school, and then there's also the new version. If you look up top, that's like a 3DS exclusive kind of thing, from what I know. So I was like, oh, I totally want this because that's pretty badass. Do you know what I mean? Like I respect that. But and then you said there's one coming to the Switch. I think that's 11. Right? That's 11 or 12? I keep forgetting.
No, the 11 is the
one okay. About. So 11's not for the Switch at all, but now it's coming out. Well, now they're gonna work on it, but we're still getting PS4 and
3DS.
Stupid 3DS. Got it.
Yeah, it's weird. So you're gonna have to wait like 3 years for that to come out. And then the other thing was just a neat thing. Yacht Club Games released like their info on Shovel Knight sales, and the Nintendo consoles basically made like over half of the sales in total.
Wow.
Like, wow, that's kind of crazy, especially because the Switch, like they showed, I don't have the chart in front of me, but they showed like a graph of like how fast the game sold and whatnot, and like the Switch has already exceeded like most of the other ones. Like just looking at the pie chart, the Switch is at 17% and the Wii U is at 14%, and the Switch has only been out for like, it was like a launch title, I believe, for the Switch. So it's like, wow, in like a year it already outsold it, and most of the other consoles like PS4 is only like 9%, and then it just goes down from there. It's like,
well, Switch has the best version anyway, so yeah, I mean, if you
3DS
you go.
Oh, sorry. 3DS and PC are basically the same at like 24%. And then like the rest go down. I'm like, holy crap.
I'm surprised the 3DS one didn't sell more. You would think like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was a Kickstarter like kind of thing. And like, I thought when most people wanted Shovel Knight, it was for 3DS rather than Wii U kind of thing. I thought like the Wii U was going to be like the more like niche kind of like crowd for it. And then when you heard about the Switch one, like, dude, I was like, I mean, I was tempted to buy it for the Switch. Like, even though I have it on the 3DS, I was like, damn, I want that shit on the Switch, and it comes like with everything. Granted, I already have all the DLC for free, but still, you know what I mean? Like, it just seemed like it'd be better. So I'm glad, like, to say it, like, it kicked ass.
That is the real news story there, because it was very successful, I thought, on 3DS. So if it outsold on Switch, that's like
that's crazy, right? Like, I thought like everybody had. I thought it was like it'd be like a 40% 3DS thing, and then like everybody else. That's what I kind of thought the chart would look like.
I mean, to be fair, it released on 3DS like years obviously before Switch, so I'm sure a lot of people who bought it like don't want to rebuy it too, or already played it. But
it's the double dip phenomenon. See, I think it's the double dip phenomenon. It's like the same reason Mario Kart 8 sold insane on Switch, and it's like, like a lot of the people that owned Switch when that was out like already had it and like just went and bought it again because they were like, well, I want to have Mario Kart on the go, so I'm just going to pay another $60 for this game I already have. And that is just a crazy fact that we're all, even though we're total fanboys sitting right here, that all own Switches, like, and love them and talk about them every week to all our friends and to each other. Like, this double dip phenomenon is just one of the craziest things about Switch, that you're like, yeah, things like that there were more copies of Zelda sold at launch than there were Switches, and there were, like now, and Mario Kart sold more copies right away on Switch than it did on Wii U, which leads you to believe people were double dipping. I'm just like, and then I think that's what's happening there when you see those numbers with Shovel Knight. I'm like, a lot of people just did what Mike was tempted to do and said, you know what, it's a perfect portable game. I don't care. It's only whatever, I don't know how much it is. What, $20? I have no idea.
Yeah, $20 for everything. Yeah.
Like, so yeah. So it's like, it's only $20. I love that game. I'm buying it again so I can play it again on a bigger screen and like have it with me everywhere, and then have all this.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So I think,
and you can play 2-player with it's a big difference too for having a console.
Yeah, totally. That would be just another reason. Yeah, you'd be willing to shell out. You'd be like, well, just like me and Cave Story, that I still haven't bought it again, but I'm like, I've already played through Cave Story so many times, and I'm like, I always want to buy it again on Switch, and I eventually will, probably, because I'm just like, the game is amazing. Next time I play it, I'll probably play it on my Switch, and that'll be the justifying factor. I'll be like, yeah, and it's got that 2-player mode in it now, even though I'll probably never capitalize on it. I'll just be like, I don't care, I'm just gonna play it myself. Like so. So anyhow, yeah, crazy stuff. This Nintendo, they're doing all right, huh?
Third
party, huh?
I wish I could.
Yeah, they should stop making consoles and just
they should wrap it up
already.
Wrap it up.
That's it. Mario on PlayStation, bro. That's it.
Wrap it up, bros. We don't need this. Come on. PlayStation All-Stars and Smash Brothers together. Thank you.
Halo and Metroid all in one.
Halo Metroid, bro. Halo
Metroid.
Sad
when they could get like most of their characters like aren't even PlayStation characters. They're just like all third parties, and then like they
wait, are they?
PlayStation All-Stars, like a lot of them are third party. I don't want to stick my foot in my mouth too much, but I mean, like, okay, maybe
No, I think you're right. Kratos is first party.
Yeah.
Forever the Rapid is maybe.
Yeah, it's like their Japan studio, whatever.
Hey,
but like,
hey.
Some of these were just like exclusive on Sony platforms, but like not really. I mean, I guess that's fair enough. But like
I want to be the Sony
like that's not
here.
No one's gonna be like, oh, Fat Princess, that's a great
oh shit,
Sony
Fat
character.
Princess, that's hype.
Or Noriko from Heavenly Sword.
I want to be the Sony fanboy here and say it's called PlayStation All Stars, not Sony All Stars, bro.
Yeah, all right, Matt, dumbass.
Come on.
Fair enough. That's their poor excuse.
Hey, well, I mean, it's not really All Stars. They didn't have Crash or Spyro.
They didn't even have Cloud or even Lightning. Like,
and somehow we got Cloud and ruined our own game. All right,
I think it's just sad that like Square Enix was like in their Square Enix thing where they're like, oh man, we have a new character, let's put her everywhere like they're doing with Noctis. But back then it was Lightning. They're like, well, sure, we'll have some advertising thing with like Louis Vuitton for a handbag or some clothing.
They did real clothing advertisements.
But a Sony fighting game? Nah, that's below us. We can't bother with that. It's like, what? Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. Oh
That's
boy,
just
is it?
bad.
The
Like,
tables have turned. The Nintendo fanboys on the
Like
Nintendo
that-
podcast are making fun of Sony. This is the tables have truly
Yeah.
turned here. We're like,
have the turntables have turned, man.
the foolish Sony fanboys. Look at your company. It's ridiculous. They should wrap
You know what's funny though? Like I love PlayStation games for like first player games. You know what I'm saying? Like
oh yeah,
it's
that's
weird.
cool.
Like I mean, I have a weird relationship with Sony. Like I effing love. Like I got a PS3 like year one. You know what I mean? Like I'm like one of those guys. But it's just like any chance to knock at it, I will. Like I think Nintendo's superior in every aspect. Like there's no question about it. But I mean, like there's just like some stuff about like Sony. I'll just be like, yeah, you know, just they did it better. Like that's it. Like I mean, all I do really is play my RPGs and a few adventure games on there. But I'm like, why do I have this? I think about it all the time. I'm like, I just want to play my Nintendo first party games, but then at the same time, it's the same thing with Sony. I'm like, I just want to play my Sony first party games, bro. You know, like I don't get it. I don't really get second or third party games.
There's
I'm not
room
even-
enough for everybody.
Yeah. I'm not even
There's room
knocking
enough.
like the company. Like I like their stuff, but just like this game in particular was kind of sad to be like, man, they can't even get like the things that are notably with PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like they do.
Yeah,
have
they don't
some,
have
but
they don't have Legend
they
of
miss some
Croc.
big
I mean
ones.
Croc, the Legend of Gobos, all right? Like or Gex Enter the Gecko. Right? Like come on.
Oh, man.
Oh, brother. All right. Well, and what else is happening in Sony news that we should talk about on our Sony podcast here?
So speaking of Nintendo news, Sega. I'm not even kidding. They announced some stuff because they had, I don't know, some video or something. I don't know. I just saw some news feed, but they have something called Sega Ages, which is going to have a collection of like 15 games apparently. They might add some Saturn and Dreamcast games to it, so that'll be cool. Some people are being like, man, I guess we're not getting Virtual Console at all because we keep getting collections of old games. Like Mega Man has legacy collections coming, and Sega's doing this now, and I think there's probably some other people. I don't know. Do you think we're gonna get a Virtual Console at some point, or
I don't think
you
that's
it's dead?
exclusive. I think collections just sell really well, and a lot of those games are easier if they're older games are probably easier to either like get running or possibly license. So I don't think it has any either here nor there on the Virtual Console, you know, like kind of thing. It's like if Nintendo gets that stuff running, hey, they could just double dip and re-release it, you know, and be like, well, you can also download this game now or something, you know, piecemeal. You know, we could release these games one at a time and for like less money or something like that. So
Yeah, I think you're going overboard, man, with your sci-fi and your conspiracy theories, man. Like that's just Capcom being Capcom. They want the money, and guess what's gonna happen, buddy? Just like they did on the VC, because remember Mega Man was released on that. We still had VC Mega Man games and Mega Man Extreme Game Boy games, so Capcom will be double dipping. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think so. I think.
Yeah, I actually don't think that. I just saw a bunch of other people post
Sure.
it.
Sure.
So
Yeah, no, I know. I just wanted to knock you. I know
Yeah.
you know more.
You jerk. No, yeah. Honestly, though, man, I don't know with Virtual Console. Like, yeah, I don't think this really says anything because they can just release a collection and it's like, okay, well, if you know, they can just have a second version on the eShop if they really want to. Like, that's not gonna.
Exactly.
They're not gonna cannibalize each other. It's just like you can either buy one or you can buy all of them for a smaller price, whatever. But yeah,
And,
I
you
do
know-
think it. I don't know. In a weird way, I could see them maybe just not bothering with Virtual Console and just put out like select games like every now and then, like because they also have their own mini consoles. So it's like, okay, well, is this just going to be a separate thing, or is it just going to replace Virtual Console or whatever? But I don't think anyone can really say anything until they launch their online service, because I mean, no one's going to say, oh, well, you'll never have, insert online multiplayer thing ever. It's like, well, no, we know that's coming. So I think they're going to hold a lot of stuff back until they do this whole paid online thing, and then they'll just release it all then, because it'll make more sense in some way, because no one's going to be like, oh, well, there's no downside to holding off on Virtual Console games, Because it's not like you're gonna lose anybody. Like, oh man, they don't have insert game I haven't bought for the 17th time. I'm not gonna bother.
Where's my Donkey Kong, bro? Where's my Donkey Kong?
Yeah. So I think it'll just be like
Sega's in their own boat there. This is Sega you're talking about with this collection. So it's like they may not even have insider knowledge of when Virtual Console's coming. So it's like, to them, it's like, hey, right now things are really tough to get traction on the Switch because it's so popular that there's too much competition almost. So the one thing we can do is like make some money if people see that we have a collection. It's not just like us hitting up a Virtual Console with one game. It's like, hey, here's some obscure Sega game that you're not that into. It's not Sonic. So you're never going to notice it and you're going to ignore it because there's like 50 other games that released today that you like might be interested in. It's like, hey, we get the headline advertisement, Sega collection, $40. We make a big chunk of change for all these older games all at once. And it's like again, they might not even know insider information about their Virtual Console. You would think they would, being Sega, being like a second party almost to, like Nintendo or whatever their relationship is like, but they might not, because Nintendo might not know what the heck they're doing themselves yet, or be still figuring it out, and they might say, yeah, we're going to have Virtual Console between 1 and 4 years, Sega, and Sega's like, what? like that doesn't help, so it's, it's a good way to make some quick bucks. That's, bottom line is Sega's internal staff is like, we need to get a piece of this money. This is a lot of money on this. This whole Switch is generating. Let's get on that, So.
Honestly, I wonder what's more profitable for them to either release a bunch of games individually on like Virtual Console or just release a collection, because there's like on the Wii there's a lot of weird games on there, and like a lot of them did not sell well. Like I don't think Rystar was breaking any sales charts.
Right.
What? Yeah, impossible. That's like the number one. I guess that was a lie too.
Game. I like it, but
yeah.
But I mean, if you shove that in a collection with like 15, 20 other games, it's like, okay, well that's not too bad. Like you'll make your money on it. So
yeah, exactly. Well, that's cool. What else is in the news, bro?
And only one really other thing. Still Sega. They're also releasing their own mini console for the Mega Drive. They haven't listed any games or anything on it. But
Mega Drive to Genesis, right?
Everyone's making their own mini console. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll leave that.
Where does his name Mega Drive come from?
That's the British name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because my Nintendo news is like European or whatever.
Thank you, Clay. All right. See, as you can see, I'm a patriot, so I had no idea what was going on. Mega Drive. All right, man. I was like, what made up system is this? Right.
It was called the Famicom in Japan. Your head explodes.
All right. Yeah, I hear that. All right. Like I went over this story when I first saw the different Super Nintendo controller. I was like, what the fudge is this? I was like, I want this one. Mine's purple and gray. This one's rainbow. And it's like, nah, dude, that's Super Famicom. I was like, dude. And then when I saw a Super Famicom cartridge, my brain was blown. I was like, this isn't the Super Nintendo at all. All right, all these damn dirty lies I've been fed all my life.
And the weird thing is, even the buttons are different. Like the
wait, really?
Nope.
Yeah, they aren't.
What's this? What are we talking about?
The Super Nintendo, on the Japanese, European one, all of them are. I forget if it's concave or convex, but basically it's like a bubble. And on the like North American one, there's 2 of them that are a bubble, but 2 of them are like have dents in them.
What?
Divots in them. Yeah,
that is true. Holding a Super Nintendo controller in my hand right now, and yes, there's the
Y button's indented in. Yeah, like that a Super Nintendo controller should be.
I don't know what the reasoning for that was.
That
I would say it's
like, I mean,
no, it's because most games you hold Y to sprint, dude. So like,
but
you're already having it. You have it pressed down. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't have a problem with the buttons. I kind of like the North American one like that, but I just don't understand. Like, if you made, I don't know how it works, so I'm kind of talking out of my ass a bit, but if you already have like a blueprint of something, wouldn't you just send that to, another company in another region
Well,
be
wasn't
like, this is our console.
wasn't
just
Nintendo
print
of
this?
America like didn't like even Sega back then wasn't there like hard to like bring relationships over? Like I mean, Dr.
That could
Robotnik
be,
is not Dr. Robotnik, you know what I mean? Like Sega of America did their own thing with it.
Sega famously had a lot of internal fights about that stuff in the 80s or in the 80s, 90s, the Genesis era. That's a huge, pretty well documented. You can read a ton of stuff about it. Like the internal fights between Sega of America and Sega of Japan are probably, from my impression, Nintendo's so secretive that by comparison, it's my impression is Nintendo just had more like top-down control. Nintendo of Japan said what was up, and Nintendo of America did it. And Howard Phillips and everybody over here like had a lot of say-so, but like not. It wasn't the same as the fights Sega had internally, where they were battling back and forth on like what Sonic was going to be called or what he was going to look like, even down to like granular stuff like that. And like, but like when to Matt's question about like the system controller, like, I mean, that's partly industrial design stuff where they're going to like customize stuff for different markets based on like everything from like consumer preference and perception to focus groups and all that kind of stuff. That's it's as simple as like, why do they change things for different markets today? We still see that less in the hardware, more in the
Matt, they knew we were more aggressive. All right, that's why our shit's indented. All right? But they're gonna break it anyway. Those dumb Americans. All right? They're always bad.
For, like names and stuff or whatever. Like when you could just reprint that on a thing and that's fine. And just the box, just so like. I know, not local, whatever localization regions or whatever, something might work better in another country. But I guess it's weird because it's like hardware. It's like, isn't that like finalized? Like this is what we made, make it.
Well, remember things didn't come out at the same time either back then. Super Nintendo in America came out much later than Super Nintendo in Japan.
Yeah.
And so.
Wait, Japan got a Super Nintendo?
Yeah, Super Famicom. Yeah.
Like, yeah. You can't be doing that to me, bro.
Sorry, bro.
But with these lies, all right?
Yeah.
What's next? I'm gonna buy Super Mario World for my Super Famicom and then be told that your shit don't work.
Well, to Matt's question, sometimes like I think sometimes it's like feedback, literally, like you might imagine there was consumer feedback and there were things they refined after they released it. There are examples I could go through, but I'd be taking up the whole podcast, like of things that are more internal. But like the buttons thing, I wasn't aware that you're saying the buttons on the Super Famicom controller are not concave on two of the buttons. Is what you're saying? Is that correct?
Correct. It's all
rounded.
Outie buttons.
Okay.
Let's do that. Outies and Innies.
Yeah, I didn't know that about the rainbow versus the purple. But it just felt so normal to me.
I like it. Now that you mention it, I like our version a lot because you know what?
I do.
This is a really obvious thing when you're holding one. Maybe not as obvious when you're not. But when you're not looking at the controller, you can tell which buttons your fingers are on really quickly. And I was playing Donkey Kong Country 3 with Phil. That's the game I played of the week. But yeah, that's why this is really interesting and why I knew which button was indented. Otherwise, I would have never noticed. All right, but go on, Clay. Go on. No, that's it. I mean, you're giving a great example. Like you notice it almost subconsciously that you can. Well, it's like how typewriters. I don't know. Do modern keyboards still have it? Do they have the indent on certain buttons?
No. I mean, you could get custom keyboards like that.
The F and the J on your keyboard have a button.
Oh yeah, you're right. The F and the J.
Oh,
they have your finger.
Okay, yeah.
So it's the same kind of thing, possibly. You could argue that's why they did it. That it's like, well, you can tell your fingers are on the lower buttons of your controller rather than on the uppers. I mean, you can tell. It's kind of a small thing, but I like the feel of it. Frankly, it's kind of cool.
Too.
I never noticed that before in my life. So neat.
Hey, I mean, I don't know. This is pretty interesting. Not gonna front. It's just like it's like subconscious things about like I guess game designs that you would never notice, So
totally. I don't think I ever would have thought of that. Well, I might have noticed it before, but it's not the kind of thing I thought deeply about. So there we go. Look at us. We're a great Nintendo podcast. Everybody, thank you. Take a bow. We're taking bows. We're like, we figure stuff out live on the air. We're great. We're amazing.
I guess so, man. I don't know, freaking. I'm actually quite impressed from our own selves. Like Clay, I was like, oh shit, like, damn, bro. But it's, And the more I think about it, I'm like, every button, maybe they always indent something, but like the GameCube has the indented shoulder buttons. But then if you go to the Wii, the only thing indented was the B button in the back because it fits through the finger. And then it's like, oh, okay. Then they did it with the ZR triggers and stuff.
You want to get nerd? You want to get nerdy? I'm sitting here. Okay, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the dog bone controller, but like this is interesting to me on the same level. So Nintendo boxy original NES round one, the very first original Nintendo that you're picturing in your head. The box controller. The buttons are indented on that. The A and the B, the red buttons on the classic controller, like the original Nintendo controller, they're indented. But now, when they revised the system, there's the top loader that you can probably picture, like famous gamers play with it, like AVGN has one and stuff like that. You'll often see the top loader is the first revision of the original box Nintendo, and it's famously, as you know, the more reliable one. It doesn't have the problems loading a cartridge like the original one has a lot.
Oh yeah, okay, wait. They made another Nintendo that didn't.
Yeah, that's what I'm going through here to get to a point. Yeah, exactly. So
I didn't know they made another one. I always thought it was just the box one. That was it. Like you throw it in
by the top loader. I mean, it's like 100%. Like they one of the major revisions. It's just like they do with DSs and 3DSs and stuff like that. The big problem of the original Nintendo that you blew on your cartridge that didn't do a damn thing, but you did it because you thought that would make your cartridge work better, is because it doesn't read the pins very well. They revised that, and it's called the 101 or the top loader. And so like you get your top loader. Now, the one thing is, if you buy a top loader now, you might not get the original controller with it because they're a little more like rarer because they wore out and stuff like that, just like all controllers do. There's a dog bone Nintendo controller, and you could just Google that and see a picture of it. That's the controller that came with the revised model of the original Nintendo. And on that dog bone controller I'm holding, it has Outie buttons. It doesn't have indent buttons like the original Nintendo controller does. So it's like they even revised. For some reason, Nintendo was getting into this. I can't explain it, but so just to go through it again, the original controller has the Innie buttons, the indented buttons. Then the dog bone that came with revision 1 has Outies. And then Super Nintendo that comes shortly thereafter has both, has Innies and Outies. I don't know what to make of this, guys.
We can't decide which one go with both.
Oh, gosh. These are more complicated than I thought it would be. It's not just, they don't just make a new system and they're like, I like it on the top now. It looks better.
Innies and Outies, bro. Innies and Outies.
What's even weirder, if you want to look at it, is the top loader controller. The buttons aren't just flat on the controller. There's actually like a piece that pops out. So I guess the buttons come out further. But then on the SNES controller, it's just on the flat plane. So
yeah, you're right.
Weirder.
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, well, how about this? I use my GameCube AV cables on my Super Nintendo because I lost them. So how about that? Nintendo was keeping it eco-friendly for a long time for me. I was like, oh no, I don't have any more red, yellow, whites. I was like, wait a minute, just unplugged my GameCube and boom.
Wait a minute here. You said to yourself. Nice. I love it. No, that is a handy thing. If you have enough old Nintendo hardware, some of it is cross-compatible. That is an absolute fact. So,
yeah, I think it stops at the Wii.
Yeah.
No, I think the Wii. Yeah, the Wii used like a different version of like the AV, like from what I can remember, or maybe it didn't. But I do remember it, like, because I had my GameCube and my N64 together, and I was like, "What the hell?" I think we threw out by accident my Super Nintendo one. So then I just like moved everything down one. And I was like, "Nice, GameCube works on N64, and whatever. You can't use the power supply, obviously, guys, but
Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Although we could talk about this forever. This is like in my realm of interest. Like the funny thing is you can use a lot of those old power supplies like interchangeably and get away with it. Like for instance, right now downstairs, I think I have a Nintendo plug running an Atari and it just plugs right in. Like, and it's just like, it doesn't matter. Like the voltage.
No way.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. And like my Famicom disk system, I think I've run it off like that's like the Japanese disk system that's for the Famicom, like that. I think I've run it off the wrong power supply, which is not recommended to do, is what someone told me later, but it worked until I was told not to do it. It was like, they were like, that could screw that up. You should probably not do that. I was like, oh, okay.
But I assume maybe it screwed up only because like older disc systems are really weird. I mean, like the way I look at it is like sometimes like you look at like PlayStation games, they'd be like, why doesn't this work anymore? You know what I mean? It's like maybe there's like it had nothing to do with the way you handle the disc. It could have been like something external.
Yep.
So it's not like today where it's like, well, power supply for any laptop or computer works for another one. Like most of the time like things are built like that. But like back then, I would be like, CD stuff. Like I don't really trust you, man. Gotta use my floppies, bro. All right.
The sad thing is that Nintendo's gone the other direction nowadays, as we know, with like, say, you can't use your Wii U controllers with your Switch unless you jump through hoops, and stuff like that. Like, that's the sad thing that they've like.
Yeah, that was always my favorite thing about Nintendo. I was like, hey.
They've kind of gone the other direction now on us, where they're like kind of playing that game where it's like buy new peripherals and your power supplies aren't going to be cross compatible and things like that, for different systems. But that's life.
We still have the GameCube thing. We still have the GameCube adapter thing. So
True.
So that could lead to more or lead to less. I don't know, but did Nintendo start? They stopped making new GameCube stuff, right? New GameCube controllers per se. Like after Smash, like they only made the Smash controllers, but they never
They're done. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they want people to buy the Pro controller. Like I have it. I don't really use it as much. Like I said, I really love the Joy-Cons, but everyone, like, I've never heard anything bad about the Pro controller, and I think it's better for people with bigger hands. You know what I mean? Like, the Joy-Cons are kind of small. Like, sometimes I'll find myself, like, sliding up, but, like, I think they're perfect size for me. Like, I think they're too comfortable. But, like, when I give it to, like, my younger brother or, like, Clay, I'm assuming you have giant hands since you're over, like, 6'2", 6'3", and it's like...
got giant hands, girl.
Yeah, and you're just like, the hell? Why am I... Like, it's like the size of your pinky, this Joy-Con, Like, how's Shaq and Clay gonna play, freaking Shovel Knight together, right?
They work pretty good, though, those Joy-Cons. They fit the hand well. I'll say that. They fit... If the glove don't fit, you must equip, my friend. But if
oh, so you use your Nintendo Power Glove to play your Switch. Got it.
Totes, bro, totes. Actually, Mike, that kind of I don't agree with all the thing. I wanted to ask Mike if he had seen that survey. I think it was published on Nintendo Life that they were surveying professional Smash community, and the one really surprising answer was that they got it. Matt, you might remember. I know you read that site a lot. They asked professional Smashers if it would be a deal breaker if there was not a GameCube adapter for Switch, and the answer was no. Like, people were actually like, nah, it'll be fine. We'll use whatever. Was like and this was like a survey of professional Smash Brothers players, not just.
I think that's just like a yes for a yes kind of sake. Like, if I honestly was thinking about it, like, to me, dude, when Smash came out, I was like, I ain't playing with it again. I'm gonna learn with my gamepad, because that's the new controller that came out with it. And then when I first played Smash, obviously we all played it for 3DS. So I was like, when I transitioned over, I was like, dude, I can't play with a GameCube controller anymore. I can only play with the 3DS. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I felt, honestly, for the first 2 weeks playing console Smash. Then I just plugged in the GameCube controller, and I was like, a little bit better. Yeah, I was like, yo, you see these advantages I'm getting right now? but I'd probably answer the same way, like, nah, it doesn't really matter. But when the option's there, and especially because it is, technically, then they're 99% going to go back and they're just talking out their ass. Like,
sure. It was more surprising because it wasn't harsh, was the thing that was surprising. It wasn't like
I wouldn't be like, I'm not going to play it, there's no GameCube support. I'm not I'm not like a Melee guy. I was like, I can't play this without that. Like, I wouldn't mind playing them. I mean, like I just said, I love my freaking Joy-Cons, dude. Like, I'll play with that shit on, like, you know what I mean? I don't know if maybe I would like my Pro Controller a little bit more for that game, but it would never be a deal breaker for me. However, if they're saying they wouldn't use it, that's a damn dirty lie.
I agree.
Yeah, man, you'd be like the same way. You'd be like, back to the controller. Too comfortable. I've been doing this for 10 years like this.
No, I mean, I agree that, like, it wouldn't stop them, because the whole, like, like, all the controllers now are wireless, so no one can say, like, oh, well, I'll never play this fighting game because it's not a wireless controller. It's like, that's really unless you use, like, a fight stick, that's basically your only option, and I think even fight sticks are wireless anyway. But
I mean, most of
I
them
agree, though.
but...
If they had, like, a GameCube, they'd be like, yeah, well, I'll go back to that because it's wired, so... Less potential for lag.
That's like a frame difference. Yeah, the lag input, like, I mean, delay input or some shit like that. So it's just like, people were worried. They're like, well, like when you first came out, like, when there was 3DSs, they're like, oh, there's the input delay, and then actually then they just kind of started banning 3DSs from menus, only because, not because Not because they, were disadvantaged, but people just forgot, or the lag inputs were causing systems to not connect. It was just people would always forget to disconnect their 3DS. So you'd be like in the middle of picking your set, and then like a hand will go up, and you'll be like, you know what I mean? Or like a guy threw his Wiimote in his freaking backpack, and he's like nowhere to be found, of course. And then his hand is just in the middle of the screen because it's like in the bottom of his backpack where it's always moving or hitting a button, and you're like, what? Like it'd be that bad. And they're like, "Oh, I forgot. Sorry, man." And you're like, "Bitch, just bro." Yeah, sorry, bro. And I'm like, "Oh, great. Just wasted 10 minutes of my life. Thanks. No worries. I didn't want to get home. All right,
sorry, bro. just my Wiimote, bro.
Yo, my bad, man. I'm like, yo, you casual shit with your Wiimote. Get your ass out. All right?
Sorry, bro.
Wait, do Wiimotes work on the Switch? No, right?
No, not natively.
Okay.
But I'm sure you can find a way around it.
No, I was like, because I was like kind of tired of like, I stopped plugging in my sensor a long time ago. So, like, I was just like, oh, you can get around the sensor? I'm done with this. So, good.
Yeah, I'd say, oh yeah, that like I should bring that up sometime on earlier in the show when people are still listening, but I showing confidence in our listeners as I always do, but like I did get that 8BitO adapter, though it's like the $15 like 8BitO companies like what do you call it, Bluetooth adapter that you plug into the Switch, and it does work really well. And I do have my Wii U Pro controllers up and running now on my Switch, so $15 is. I'm gonna probably do a review of it for my YouTube channel, because I was just like, there is one hiccup when you're trying to get it to sync that, like, of course, with an 8BitO, as Matt and I learned, like is a fact, like of getting the run. This is a little less onerous. There was no firmware, but it was like there's some options you have to change in your menus to get it to run right. But it's
that's a pain. At least it's a simple kind of like fix. Like sometimes you just plug these things in, and you're like, oh, they don't work. I'm pissed off. You know what I mean? Like
this was like hard enough that it took like 5 minutes of Googling, but not 30. You know what I mean? It was like
yeah. Like I can watch somebody do it and copy them real quick, and then
yeah. So exactly. So
I mean that was the same thing with the that you can use your Nintendo adapter on your computer, right? Some guy built a plug-in for it. So I was like, oh, thank God. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to go out and be like, oh, I need the GameCube to USB adapter. Like, if I feel like playing it. Like, somebody's like, nah, dude, you have a Nintendo GameCube. Just throw it in and you install my plug-in. It took me like the same thing, like 5 minutes. I was like, what the hell's going on? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
So. Nope.
Good stuff. All right. So what else?
Well, the worst part is I know our future of games, and Matt's going to be playing Dad of War, and I'm going to be just playing my Gravity Rush, and we're not going to be playing Nintendo games.
Oh, I won't even playing that. I'm just going to wait till after I get finished Dishonored, which is going to take like freaking forever, as slow as I'm going.
Oh, damn. Yeah, dude, I hate that feel.
Like
sometimes you're just like, I want to be done.
Crap, I'm going to get nowhere.
Yeah, man, that's how I've been feeling about Xenoblade. I'm like, I just want to get this done. Oh, is that a side quest? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, damn it, I don't care. Like, I'm like so close to putting the game on easy mode and just like trying to do the story. I'm like, I just can't. I just like, I'm too addicted to touching like every side quest that comes. I'm like, I gotta do this one. Like this one seems kind of important. All right? And it's just like, nope, I'm just an idiot.
That's good.
Don't rush through your games, guys. Don't rush through your games. Don't rush through life. I know the feeling you're talking about. But I constantly am like reminding myself, I'm like, if I'm going to sit here and try to rush through this game, what am I really playing it for, guys?
Yeah, that's true.
Sit back and enjoy the ride.
Sit back and enjoy that ride. I just would want to finish before I get it, because whatever. It would just be nice because like, oh, you have a new game. It's like, well, you could have played it, but you're doing something else. But
I got to finish Zelda. Hey, I got my fourth Guardian in Zelda.
Oh, you did.
It's a miracle.
Yeah. Guardians complete, but I still don't have the Master Sword, and I still don't even have the whole map revealed. So it'll be a while, guys.
Oh, you're gonna do the whole map? You're a nut job, man. I don't know how I've been falling asleep 8,000 times playing that game. Like, I walk up a mountain, dude, and I'm just like, that's enough for the day.
I love it. I love the game so much. It's so I don't want it to end now. At this point, now I'm like definitely fighting the like finishing it vibe, but I will. I'm gonna. But I'm gonna still do some exploring before I go get that Master Sword because I know where it is, but I didn't pick it up when I saw it. I said no. I will respect you. I will leave you in your. I will leave you here. I will go do some other things. I didn't want to make the game easy. I was like, nah, it's already too easy. I was like,
can't make it too easy. Got you.
It's already pretty easy. It's like, and I only have like 10 hearts. Like I just like it's a little too easy. If I had one thing about it, I would change it. It would be like a much harder game. But
well, it's like reverse. Like I mean, like think about it. Like it starts off very hard, and then it's just like,
yeah, exactly. That's why I stopped upgrading. Like
you
before
can
my
make
first
it harder
party.
for yourself. You know how?
Yeah.
You trade in your heart pieces for stamina.
Oh!
I did, Matt. I'm not even joking. I only have 10 hearts. I think I'm at the end of the game. Like I upgraded my stamina wheel almost all the way, and I think right now my character has like 40 orbs in my inventory. I just don't cash them in. I'm just like, it's just too easy. I turned off the shrine tracker the first day I had the game. It's just like, it's still too easy. It's like it's still a masterpiece. Still.
I haven't played the game in so long. I don't even know what a shine tracker is anymore.
It's like you should turn it on if you ever do get into it. It's like
I'm never
having GPS. It's like having GPS for the shrines. Like you're just like all you have to do is follow the beep and you go.
Wait, no way! You can find any shrine like that?
Yeah. Exactly.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Most play it that way. Like the what do you call them? The pleb casuals or the scum fuckers?
Those plebeian ass bitches.
Yeah. It's like I can't believe it. I'm like, that's the whole fun of Zelda is finding stuff, and then you just have a GPS that tells you where things are. Like I just like my brain doesn't compute that. I'm like,
I didn't even know that was in the game, and I'm very upset I did not take advantage of this now. But it is not enough to get me to go back to this game. I'll tell you that. Too little, too late.
Not your game. Not your game.
Not my game at all, matey. Arg.
What is this, a pirate cast now?
Yeah, but we're changing up the podcast, Matt.
Yarr.
That be Nintendo podcast. You're like, oh, okay, I know that cast.
Playing too much Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I did play a few Sea of Thieves there, matey. All right, so
that's where it's from.
Good stuff.
All right,
good stuff.
So I think we'll wrap it up there for this week. You can find me at the Manga Viking on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Source Gaming. And I should show off, but we relaunched or whatever, they redesigned the website, and I made some little animations for them, so that was kind of cool. And I'm working on some stuff for them, so I'll say that when it actually releases, because I'm terrible when it comes to actual dates and times. So you can find that. And Mike, where can people find you?
They can't. I mean, they can find me at Troy B7 or on Gaming Night Live on YouTube. That's YouTube in Japanese. So just letting you guys know.
Weeb.
Thanks for that update, bro.
I had to make sure they could find me. All right, I am the knight, or whatever the Batman saying is.
You're right.
I'm not good like that. All right, gosh, man, I'm on the spot. All right. Matey.
And Uno Clay, where can people find you? Apparently not here.
Sorry.
That's the classic Matt line right there.
I'm trying to hit the button. I always try to mute myself when other people are talking. I've been putting up videos on my new YouTube channel, Uno Clay Gaming, and I'm also on Twitter at UnoClay_Switch. So check out some really inane videos that I put up and listen to my pithy comments.
All right.
That's my ad.
Nice. So wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on basically every platform on the internet. Hit us up with your questions, or if you're interested in being a guest, you can at me at the Manga Viking or at Just Another Castle. So until next time, leave luck to the heavens and leave gaming to Nintendo.
Okay.